Seattle Seahawks versus the San Francisco 49ers. It was a game. Obviously, the San Francisco 49ers get ahead early, making big plays, both offensively and defensively. The Seattle Seahawks just could not get any momentum in the first half. That was the tough thing to watch on that side of the football. Weren't able to generate enough turnovers or pressure on Brock Purdy to really make a huge difference in this game. Jordan Mason starts the game really well, goes out with an injury. Then Isaiah Garrindo comes in, 10 carries for 99 yards. Probably could have had a touchdown, but decided, I don't know. Kyle said he slid, but he doesn't believe he slid. He got caught, but he gave it to Juice, and Juice couldn't have been happier. Talked to his wife and Kittle's wife before the game. They were expecting their husbands to jump in the stands with footballs, and sometimes a plan comes together. George Kittle gets 2 touchdowns in the game. Great game for him. Deebo Samuels, 3 receptions, 102 yards. Big game for him. Big yak game coming into the game. San Francisco 49ers were last in the National Football League in yak, which was crazy. The San Francisco 49ers and Seattle Seahawks are tied for the division lead. That was their 5th straight win against the Seattle Seahawks. Something has to change there. The Seattle Seahawks, 3 straight losses. Brock Purdy played an incredible game. And Geno Smith didn't play an awful game. Just it was a little off on some passes. A lot of it had to do with Nicholas John Bosa was in his lap a lot of the game. He had 14 pressures in the game, tied for most for any player in a game in the last 4 seasons. Anytime you're putting a third-string tackle against Nicholas John Bosa, it's not going to bode well for him. And that's how it goes. They weren't actually able to sack Geno very much in the game, so that's positive. Geno was eluding tackles, but it's just his footwork was off a little bit. He couldn't step into throws, and sometimes when that's the case, the ball drifts on you a little bit. The 49ers have a game against the Kansas City Chiefs next. That's a story for a different day. Kansas City Chiefs will be coming off a bye week. I'll be at that game, and I'm hoping for the best because, that'd be a good statement game for this team. It's a winnable game, but that's Spags defense. They dealt with it last year. It's tough to deal with on any day of the week. The Seahawks go to Atlanta to play the Falcons. That's a winnable game for them, but the Falcons coming off a huge win. I mean, we watched them play on Thursday night. Kirk looked good. Is that the thing that turns the tide for them? Or will the Seattle Seahawks come back and Mike McDonald settle the troops, settle himself down, and understand? I mean, you lost 3 straight, but that's not the end of the world. That's not the end of the road. That's not the end-all, be-all. You can continue to develop these players, continue to play well. Byron Murphy will come back. Tariq Woolen will come back. Your big-time playmakers will come back. And at some point, you'll get your right tackle back, which will make a huge difference. No offense to Forsythe, but they have tackles that can get the job done at a high level. And I'm not trying to give up on the Seattle Seahawks. I don't see myself giving up on them. I think this is a talented team that can make some more noise. They started 3-0, obviously had some fortunate situations with the Miami Dolphins against the Miami Dolphins, rookie quarterback in the Denver Broncos, first game of the season, Jacoby Brissett and the New England Patriots, but they've played competitive games, and I really thought they could beat the Giants, so that was concerning. But I think they'll be able to get this done. I think the defense will turn it up a notch. Witherspoon, Byron Murphy, Leonard Williams, they'll continue to get pressure. Boye Mafe will get healthier. And when he's healthy, he's one of the best pass rushers in the National Football League. There's hope there in Seattle. And for the San Francisco 49ers, Renardo Green interception is music to your ears. They've been banged up in the secondary. Not sure what happens with Tayshaun Gibson. Obviously, the injury to Talanoa Hufanga is going to be tough. We don't know what Malik Mustafa, great interception in the game as well. Again, young guy stepping up. Don't know what's going on with his situation, but it'd be a blessing to get Tayshaun Gibson back in the fold, back at it. Maybe next week, Charvarius Ward will be back in the fold to go against his old team, the Kansas City Chiefs. But there's some weird plays in this game. The weird punt that got muffed or touched, and everybody in the world saw it get muffed, and then they don't overturn the call. Not to say it's anybody's fault, but I mean, when plays are apparent and obvious like that, you expect them to get overturned. You expect them to get changed right then and there. Everybody's seeing the same thing. It's unfortunate. It was an unfortunate play. Nobody wants the mistake to happen, but I really didn't understand it. I really didn't understand what they're doing in the National Football League, where you're allowing plays that are clearly a mistake. Hey, overturn this call. Everybody saw it. Bad play, muffed it. Dang it. What's going on? But they don't overturn it. They stand, call them a field stands. I'm sure everybody, Seattle Seahawks fans, 49ers fans, were all up confused, because I was confused. I didn't understand that. I really didn't understand what was going on. But hopefully the league gets that fixed, because the refereeing has just been low level this year in the National Football League. But what you gonna do about it? What you're really gonna do about it? It was a cool play from Laviska Shenault. I wasn't a fan of this new kickoff return system that they have, but he made a huge play in the game after fumbling the ball early in the game. And I'm always a fan of guys overcoming adversity, being able to respond, being able to shake off bad plays and come through for his team, and that changed the momentum in the game. The Seahawks defense woke up a little bit more after that. They caused a few 3-and-outs in the game, gave the offense a chance, scored some points. So it was some cool plays in the game. It just wasn't enough from the Seattle Seahawks to get that game won. And I'm sure they're going to look at that tape, learn from it, go home, retool. But it was a great game, great win for the 49ers. And I'm sure Kyle Shanahan, you saw his presser, feels good about it, but also feels like this was a bit of a wake-up call, these losses, because the team's getting too complacent. And I agree. You don't get to scoreboard watch. You don't get to say, oh, man, we got all these playmakers. Somebody's going to make a play. And I think that's what the 49ers fell victim to at different points this season, especially some of the newer guys. It's like, hey, I play for the 49ers. Like, somebody's going to make a play. Like, it doesn't have to be me. I'm just happy to be out here. And that changed this game. There was more of a sense of urgency from the defensive line. Fred Warner obviously flying around. His message got through. Nicholas John Bosa's message got through to the team. You just seen guys playing with a different sense of urgency, a different tempo, and that was cool to see. Offensively, you saw, well, I mean, they didn't improve as much as I would like to in the red zone, but they did improve. They were able to convert a couple to George Kittle, but you want to convert at a higher tilt, and I'm sure Kyle Shanahan wants to convert at a higher tilt than that, and you're going to have to against Kansas City Chiefs. That defense, that offense, Pat Mahomes, they're going to try to score some points. You're going to need to figure out ways to stop them. They got a new weapon in Xavier Worthy. They got a really good offensive line. It's not going to be any easy game by any means, and they understand that. But it's a winnable game. It's a winnable game if they play with a sense of urgency, play hard, play discipline, execute the game plan, and they need to get a little healthier. We'll see what happens with Christian McCaffrey. There's been a lot of verbiage out there, a lot of information about his Achilles, and everybody's a doctor now. Only person that knows is him. How he's feeling each day, how it responds to the treatment, how it responds to the workouts. Hopefully they can get him back by November. That'd be a huge boost to this team, but it's good. They're getting guys like Jordan Mason, some experience, Isaac Garindo experience, because that's how you develop players within your program, within your system. But I feel good about where the San Francisco 49ers are. I feel decent about where the Seattle Seahawks are. I think they'll be fine. I think Mike McDonald, this is just it's going to work out. Guys just need to believe. He needs to believe, inject confidence into his team, and continue to stay the course. That's That's what it means. Hey, good, bad, or indifferent, the results should not change the process. And Andrew Whitworth said it on Thursday Night Football. You cannot change the process. Don't let the results determine how you're feeling the next day. Win, lose, or draw. The process is the same. The goal is the same. The thought process should be the same. But one thing that happened this week that I'm not a fan of at all was what the New York Jets did to Robert Saleh. And that was a situation I don't understand what's going on. I don't know what's going on in that building. I don't know the conversations, but from what we're hearing, from what's been the information that's been out there, they're saying Woody Johnson walked in his office, fired him in 90 seconds, had the security escort him out of the building without giving him a chance to talk to his team, without any conversation and no explanation. And that's the part that bothers me the most. No explanation. This is the National Football League. Accountability is key. You walk into meetings every week after games or after practice, and coaches tell you, hey, this is what you did well. This is what you didn't do well. This is what we need out of you. This is what you're giving us. Good, bad, or indifferent. And that tells you where you stand in terms of depth charts, in terms of playing time, et cetera, et cetera. And guys have done that since Pop Warner, Little League. They understand it. Like it's usually pretty cut and dry. And I'm sure some guys deal with politics in it and say, hey, I played better than what they're giving me credit for. They're not playing me. I'm the better guy, et cetera, et cetera. But usually, for the most part, the best guy plays. When you fire a coach without explaining to him why you're firing him, then I don't think you're justified. You say, hey, we just want to mix things up. We want to spice things up. I want to inject positive energy. This isn't a negative dictator. This isn't a militant. This isn't a guy that's hard on his players. It's the players' coach, and it's the defensive coach. And a defensive coach whose defense is playing pretty well, and they played well during his tenure there. Offensively is where they struggled. And this game, unfortunately, Aaron Rodgers struggled a little bit, to the tune of 3 interceptions, 2 in the first quarter. And so when you're Woody Johnson and you're like, hey, I was an ambassador to the UK, and I'm out here with all my British buddies, and we're watching this game, and I'm embarrassed. And you say, I'm going to fire this guy. I don't know if this feels like a knee-jerk reaction to something that I'm not sure was an issue. They're competing for first in that division, which would get them a playoff spot. And there are rarely times you fire a coach in season outside of the Raiders and Biscaccia, and he was able to take that team to the playoffs. But that was a good team, and Gruden didn't get fired for performance of the team. It was, something else, some emails and things like that. But you rarely in the National Football League fire your coach in season and have success. So you're an owner, and I don't even know if you knew this when you fired him, but you fire your coach in season, you're injecting turmoil into the team more than the loss did, because the players are confused. This isn't one where the players are like, yeah, we're not playing well enough, or man, I seen the writing on the wall, or this guy wasn't getting it done. They thought he would get this full year. This is the first year with Aaron Rodgers healthy enough to play hopefully 17 games. And we thought, as in the fans and the players, thought you'd give him 17 games to see what it would look like with a healthy quarterback. And he's not over the offensive play calling. Obviously, they stripped it from Nathaniel Hackett, gave it to Todd Downing. But how can you make that decision and justify it? I don't understand. It doesn't make it's a lateral move. And I'm sure Brick, who coached me in Seattle for a number of years as a special teams assistant, I don't think he understood it, because he's like, hey, I'm going to do the same things he was doing. I'm going to call the defense the same way it's been called. Obviously, we're making a change offensively with the coordinator, but it wasn't like Saleh sitting here running his guys into the ground or cursing them out or such a negative human being. I think he's a good coach. He's positive. He's systematic. He understands. He listens to his players. He's a player's guy. And so this feels like a guy making a decision really knee-jerk, but it's his team. He can do what he wants. It's not my team. I just don't agree with the decision. I don't agree how they treated him. You treat a guy who, that's what they did to like Urban Meyer. You have a scandal or something crazy come out, then I can understand that. Hey, you embarrassed the organization, you embarrassed yourself, embarrassed your family. We have to do this. Cool. Gotcha. Makes sense. A situation like this doesn't make as much sense to me, because I'm not, you didn't explain to him or the public what he did wrong. You just said, we want to shake things up. These are people's families. This This is his livelihood. And you're just saying this is the players' livelihoods and what they working for. And you just say, hey, 5 games into the season, I've seen enough. We're changing this up. I don't agree with this decision. I don't think it'll play well. I hope it does because I like Brick. He's a good coach. He's a good man. I like the players, DJ Reed, Sauce, a lot of guys, Garrett Wilson. I think they got a good team. I like Aaron. Big fan of Aaron for a number of years. But I'm not a fan of this decision, Woody Johnson. I'm sorry. I think you could have did better. I think you can at least you owe the man an explanation of why this is happening. Hey, I'm unhappy with your performance. I think you could have improved in these areas, A, B, C, D. You didn't. I asked you to improve in A, B, C, D. I gave you an opportunity. You didn't show me what I needed to see. This is why we're letting you go. I'll give you a chance to say goodbye to your players, but that's it. Appreciate you. Cool. That's perfectly fine. That's the nature of the business. But to not do that and to do it mid-season and is just crazy. But that's me. I don't know if Salah's coming back to San Francisco. I don't think he's coming back this season in any capacity. I think he's going to take a break, give himself a mental break. Likely will be hired as a D coordinator somewhere in the next hiring cycle. He's a good coach, runs a good system, and understands the game at a high level. And so I don't think he'll want for finding a job. I just think it's unfortunate the way this panned out because there were so many circumstances throughout his tenure there, injuries. Then you had a young quarterback. Then you had to change coordinators. Just so many things working against them. But that's how it goes sometimes. And it's the New York market. They're really tough on coaches when you're not winning, and winning matters. Winning matters. And when you're not winning, regardless of the circumstances, they're going to be tough on you. But I think this could have been done better. That's just me. I'm biased. Forgive me. Jets fans, I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't have anything else for you. I appreciate you guys. That one gets me. That one gets me. That one really gets me. But appreciate you joining me. It's going to be another incredible week of football. It's just Friday. So I can't wait for the Sunday games. We're going to learn a lot of stuff. I can't wait to see that Baltimore Commanders game, Baltimore Ravens versus the Washington Commanders game. I think that's going to be a showcase. Looking forward to see what young Jaden Daniels is able to do in that game against the reigning MVP, Lamar Jackson, coming off one of his best performances in 4 touchdown passes, 50 yards rushing, over 50 yards rushing, one of the few guys in the National Football League to do that multiple times. This team is rolling offensively. Defensively, they have some questions to answer, but they're getting pressure on the quarterback, Kyle Van Noy, playing some really good football, near the league leaders in sacks this season. So that's going to be a really fun game to watch. I can't wait. That's my game of the week that I'm looking forward to see. Obviously, the game that I was looking forward to most just happened. So as always, I appreciate you guys joining me. Appreciate you guys sticking around. Stay tuned for more episodes of the Richard Sherman podcast. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. We'll see you Sunday night.